I trusted her. God help me, I actually trusted her. The lawyer's voice kept echoing in my head as I sat in my apartment that Tuesday afternoon. Mr. Hayes, I'm calling about your father's estate. Thomas Hayes passed away last month, and you're the sole beneficiary. My father. Dead. Except he'd been dead for 20 years. That's what Mom always told me. Car accident when I was 5. No body recovered. Closed casket funeral. I had exactly 3 photos of him and a Purple Heart medal in a shadow box. There must be some mistake, I'd said, gripping my phone so hard my knuckles went white. My dad died in 2004. The lawyer had paused. A long, uncomfortable pause that made my stomach drop. Mr. Hayes, your father passed away on March 15th of this year. He'd been living in Nevada. There's an inheritance of approximately $11 million and a key to a storage unit. He left very specific instructions that only you should receive it. I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I question it more? Why didn't I demand proof? I did. He sent me death certificates, photos of Dad from just 2 years ago. Older, grayer, but definitely him. Alive. This whole time he'd been alive. The betrayal from Mom was its own separate knife in my chest, but that's another story. Before I tell you what happened next, you need to understand who I was back then. I'm Jake. I'm 25, work as a line cook at a downtown restaurant, live in a studio apartment with furniture from Goodwill. I'm nobody special. I've never had money. Never expected to have money. And when someone tells you that $11 million just fell into your lap, your brain short circuits. I'd spent 3 days in shock, staring at bank statements the lawyer emailed, account numbers, investment portfolios, a house in Henderson. All in my name now. All mine. My dad, my supposedly dead dad, had built an entire life, made a fortune in construction, and left it all to me. Then Vanessa showed up. It was a Saturday morning. Someone knocked on my door around 9. I answered in my boxers and an old Metallica shirt, expecting my neighbor asking to borrow eggs or whatever. Instead, there stood this woman in her 50s, blonde hair pulled back, designer sunglasses, expensive-looking black dress, 2 guys flanking her, one around my age, one maybe early 20s. They had that same sharp look, put together, money. Jake? Her voice cracked. Actual tears formed in her eyes. Oh my God, you look just like him, just like Thomas. My brain stuttered. Who? I'm Vanessa. I was your father's wife. She pressed a hand to her mouth. These are my sons, Rick and Forrest. Your stepbrothers, I suppose. I just stood there like an idiot. Wife? Stepbrothers? I know this must be such a shock, she continued, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Thomas talked about you constantly, every single day. He wanted so badly to reach out to explain why he had to leave, but... She shook her head. It's complicated. Can we come in? Please? I have so much to tell you about your father. That's the thing about grief and shock. They make you stupid. They make you vulnerable. I stepped aside and let them in. Vanessa settled on my ratty couch like she belonged there. Rick and Forrest stood by the door, quiet, respectful. She pulled out her phone and started showing me photos. Dad at a barbecue. Dad on a boat. Dad with his arm around her, both of them smiling at some restaurant. He loved you, she said softly. He made me promise, made me swear, that if anything happened to him, I'd find you, that I'd tell you the truth about why he left. What truth? My throat felt tight. She launched into the story about how Dad had witnessed something back in 2004, something involving dangerous people. How he'd been placed in witness protection, how he'd had to fake his death to keep me and Mom safe, how he'd spent 20 years looking over his shoulder, building a new life, always planning to come back once the threat was gone. But the cancer got him first, Vanessa whispered. Pancreatic, very aggressive. He fought so hard, Jake. He kept saying he needed more time, needed to see you one more time, but he ran out of time. I was crying by then. Couldn't help it. This stranger was filling in 20 years of blank space with a father who'd thought about me, who'd protected me, who'd died wanting to see me. He left you everything, she continued, every penny, because you were his son, his only child, and he wanted to make up for all those lost years. Rick spoke up then, his voice gentle. We just want to honor his wishes, help you figure out the estate stuff. It's complicated, you know? All the legal paperwork. We've been dealing with his lawyers for weeks. We don't want anything from you, Forrest added quickly. Mom made sure we understood. Dad wanted you to have it all. We respect that. Have you ever wanted something so badly you ignored every warning sign? I wanted this. Wanted a family. Wanted to believe my dad had loved me. Wanted to believe these people standing in my apartment actually gave a damn about honoring his memory. There's just one thing, Vanessa said, reaching into her purse. The storage unit key. The lawyer said Thomas left it with specific instructions, but we need to retrieve some of his personal effects from there first. Family photos, medals from his service, things that should stay in the family before everything gets processed through probate. She handed me a paper with an address in Nevada. Middle of nowhere, apparently. Some facility outside Henderson. Would you come with us? She asked. Tomorrow. I know it's sudden, but the lawyer said there's a deadline on the storage unit rental. If we don't clear it by next week, they'll auction everything. Thomas's memories, his whole life, gone to strangers. I should have said no. Should have called the lawyer first. Should have done 1,000 things differently. Instead, I said yes. We left the next morning in Vanessa's Mercedes SUV, big, expensive leather interior. Rick drove. I sat in back with Forrest. Vanessa rode shotgun, spent the whole drive telling stories about Dad, how he loved classic rock, how he always burned the bacon, how he cried watching war movies. Little details that felt so real, so specific. I ate it up like a starving dog. The drive took 7 hours. We stopped for lunch at some diner in the desert. Vanessa insisted on paying. Family takes care of family, she said with this warm smile. She ordered coffee for everyone. Even remembered I took mine black, which I'd mentioned once back at my apartment. She really was good. I drank the whole cup, started feeling weird about an hour later, drowsy, dizzy, mentioned it to Vanessa. Oh, honey, it's probably the heat, she said. Why don't you close your eyes? We'll wake you when we get there. I did close my eyes. Because I'm an idiot who trusted someone I'd known for less than 24 hours. When I woke up, I was in hell. Not metaphorical hell. Actual, literal desert hell. Flat red dirt stretching in every direction. Sun beating down like a physical weight. Temperature had to be over 120 degrees. I was lying on the ground in just my t-shirt and jeans. No phone, no wallet, no water. My head pounded like someone had used it for batting practice. I tried to stand. Fell twice before I managed to stay upright. Looked around. Nothing. No road. No buildings. No tire tracks. Wait, no, there were tire tracks. Leading away into the distance, getting fainter as wind blew sand over them. Vanessa! I screamed. My voice cracked, throat already dry. Rick! Forrest! Nothing. Just wind and heat and my own pulse hammering in my ears. That's when I found it. Right next to where I'd been lying. A piece of paper weighted down with a rock. I picked it up with shaking hands. I can't do this anymore. The guilt is too much. I'm sorry. Jake. A suicide note. In my handwriting. Or close enough to my handwriting that it'd fool anyone who didn't know better. My chest constricted. Couldn't breathe right. They'd planned this. All of it. The tears, the stories, the family bonding. All of it was to get me out here. To leave me to die in the desert and make it look like I'd driven myself to the middle of nowhere and given up. I checked my pockets. Phone? Gone. Wallet? Gone. Even my keys were missing. They'd taken everything. Everything except the clothes on my back and that fake suicide note. The storage unit key. That's what this was about. They needed me dead so they could claim the inheritance. Vanessa was probably already filing papers, playing the grieving widow and concerned stepmother. Police would find the note. Case closed. Troubled young man, overwhelmed by sudden wealth and family secrets, takes his own life in the Nevada desert. I was going to die out here. They'd left me to die. My vision blurred. Heat or tears or both. I stumbled a few steps in the direction I thought the tire tracks led. Made it maybe 20 feet before my legs gave out. Landed hard on my knees. The sand burned through my jeans. This was it. This was how Jake Hayes died. Stupid enough to trust a stranger with a sad story and some crocodile tears. Then I saw it. A glint of metal about 15 feet ahead. I crawled toward it, hands blistering on the hot sand. Some kind of marker. A pipe sticking up from the ground with red tape on it. And GPS coordinates etched into the metal. I recognized them immediately. Not because I'm some genius, but because I'd seen those exact coordinates before. On letters. Letters I'd been getting since I was 10 years old. Letters I thought were from my Uncle Dave in Phoenix. Letters that taught me things, survival skills, how to find water, how to navigate by stars, how to build emergency shelters. My father had been writing to me for 15 years, not from the grave, from Nevada, teaching me, preparing me for something, preparing me for this. I dug where the marker pointed. 3 feet down, my blistered hands hit something hard, a metal box. I yanked it free, pried open the lid with my bare hands. Inside, 2 gallons of water, emergency blanket, compass, energy bars, first aid kit, and a laminated map. Dad knew. Somehow he'd known. I drank half a bottle of water right there, forcing myself to stop even though I wanted to chug the whole thing. Splashed some on my face and neck. Wrapped the emergency blanket around my head to protect from sun. Studied the map. There was a ranger station 16 miles northeast, marked in red ink, with a note in Dad's handwriting. If you're reading this, trust no one. Especially not the widow. Get to safety. Evidence is in the unit. Key is your birth date. Dad. I wanted to cry, wanted to laugh, wanted to scream. My supposedly dead father had literally saved my life from beyond the grave, but I wasn't safe yet. 16 miles in the desert, in 120-degree heat. People died doing less. I drank more water, ate an energy bar, started walking, used the compass and the map, put one foot in front of the other. That's all I could do. The first day was hell. My skin burned despite the emergency blanket. My lips cracked and bled. I rationed the water like my life depended on it, because it did. I walked until the sun got too intense, then rested in whatever shade I could find, which was basically none, then walked more when it cooled slightly. I kept checking the compass, kept following the map, kept moving. The second day was worse. I was out of water by noon. My tongue felt like sandpaper. Every step was agony. Blisters on my feet had blistered. I thought about giving up, thought about lying down and letting the desert take me. Would have been easier, but then I'd picture Vanessa's face, her fake tears, her lies, her sitting in my dad's house, spending his money, living his life, while I died the way she'd planned. No, absolutely not. I was getting out of this alive just to spite that murdering bitch. Third day, early morning, I saw buildings. Not a mirage. Actual buildings. The ranger station. I wanted to run, but my legs barely worked. I stumbled the last mile, collapsed on the steps of the main office. A ranger found me passed out around 8 a.m., rushed me inside. Water, medical attention, calls to emergency services. I spent 6 hours in that station drinking electrolyte solutions and getting checked by paramedics. Then the questions started. Son, can you tell us your name? Jake Hayes. What happened to you? My stepmother tried to kill me. The ranger and the sheriff who'd shown up exchanged looks. The kind of looks people give crazy homeless guys who rant about alien abductions. Your stepmother, the sheriff repeated slowly. Where is she now? Vegas, probably, or Henderson. She drugged me and dumped me in the desert to die, her and her sons. More looks. Why would she do that? The inheritance. My dad just died, left me $11 million. She wants it. The sheriff pulled out a notepad, started writing things down. And your father's name? Thomas Hayes. He died last month in Henderson. I just found out. I've been talking to his lawyer. I see. And the stepmother. What's her name? Vanessa Hayes. The sheriff's radio crackled. He stepped outside to answer it, came back 5 minutes later with a very different expression. Less sympathetic, more suspicious. Mr. Hayes, I need you to come down to the station with me. We need to have a longer conversation about this situation. Something in his tone made my blood run cold. Why? I'm the victim here. She tried to murder me. Well, that's interesting, because I just got off the phone with Vegas PD. Vanessa Hayes filed a restraining order against you 2 days ago. Says you've been threatening her, harassing her, making wild accusations. She's got documentation from a psychiatrist about your mental state. Says you've been unstable since learning about your father's death. The water I'd been drinking came back up. I barely made it to the trash can before I threw up. They'd played it perfectly. Of course they had. Set me up before they dumped me. Made me look crazy. Made themselves look like the victims. She drugged me, I said, wiping my mouth. Check my blood. There'll be traces. We will, the sheriff said. But Mr. Hayes, I gotta tell you, I also got a text from your phone 3 days ago. Sent to several people, talking about ending it all, about how the guilt was too much to handle. My phone. They'd cloned my phone. That wasn't me. I never sent that. Phone records say otherwise, and there's more. Your landlord says you've been acting paranoid lately, talking about family conspiracies. Your ex-girlfriend reported you'd called her repeatedly claiming your dead father was alive. Because that's exactly what I had done. Because it was true. But now every true thing I'd said sounded like delusions. And Mr. Hayes? The sheriff looked almost sympathetic. Mrs. Hayes submitted evidence to Vegas PD yesterday. Text messages where you threatened her life. Photos of bruises you allegedly gave her. A recording of you screaming at her outside her home. I've never been to her home. I met her 2 days ago for the first time. According to her timeline, you've been stalking her for 3 weeks. I was going to be sick again. They'd built a case. A whole fictional case where I was the dangerous one. Where I was the threat. Where I was the one who needed to be stopped. And I was the one who'd almost died in the desert with a faked suicide note. So here's where I'm at. I survived 3 days in hell. Crawled my way back to civilization. My father apparently knew Vanessa was dangerous enough that he set up emergency supplies in case she tried exactly this. I've got a key to a storage unit that supposedly has evidence. Evidence I can't access because I'm probably about to be arrested for crimes I didn't commit. Meanwhile, Vanessa Hayes is walking around free, probably already filing paperwork to claim my inheritance, playing the terrified victim on local news, getting sympathy from everyone who thinks I'm a deranged stalker who threatened an innocent widow. Can someone tell me how I prove the truth when the woman who tried to kill me has the law on her side? The Vegas PD interrogation room was smaller than my apartment. Gray walls, metal table, that two-way mirror everyone pretends isn't for observation. I'd been sitting here for 3 hours. They let me shower and given me clean clothes from some donation box. I looked almost human again. Almost. The detective across from me, Rodriguez according to his badge, slid a folder across the table. These are the text messages Mrs. Hayes submitted, the ones where you threatened her. I opened it, saw my phone number, saw messages I never sent. You can't hide from me, Vanessa. I know what you did to my father. You'll pay for this. I'm coming for you. I didn't send these, I said for the 100th time. Your phone number says otherwise. They cloned my phone. It's not that hard. There are apps. So your theory is that this woman, who'd never met you before according to her, somehow got access to your phone, cloned it, sent herself threatening messages, gave herself bruises, and filed a restraining order, all before supposedly driving you to the desert to kill you. Do I have that right? When he said it like that, it sounded insane. God, they were good. I took a breath. Check my bank records, check my GPS history. I can prove I was at work when some of those texts were sent. Rodriguez made a note. We will, but Mr. Hayes, I gotta be honest with you. Your ex-girlfriend, she's very concerned. Says you called her 15 times in one night talking about your father being alive. Said you were crying, not making sense. Because he was alive! The lawyer can confirm... We spoke to a Mr. Maubin Patterson at Henderson Legal Associates. He confirms Thomas Hayes passed away last month and left a substantial estate to a Jake Hayes. But he also says you only contacted his office 4 days ago, not weeks ago like you claimed to multiple people. My head was spinning. 4 days, yes, that's when he called me. Before that, I thought my dad was dead. Had been dead for 20 years. That's what I told people because that's what I believed. So you were telling people your father had been dead for 20 years. Then suddenly he's alive. Then he's dead again. But now he left you millions. And the woman he was married to is trying to kill you. Rodriguez leaned back. You can see how that sounds. I could. I could see exactly how it sounded. Another detective entered. Female, older, kind eyes. She introduced herself as Detective Chen. Sat down next to Rodriguez. Jake, she said gently, I've been reviewing your case. I want to help you, but I need you to be honest with me. Have you been under a lot of stress lately? I was drugged and left to die in the desert, so yes. Before that, at work, in your personal life, have you been struggling? And see, here's the thing. I had been struggling. I'd been living paycheck to paycheck. My ex left me 6 months ago because I couldn't afford to take her anywhere nice. I called out sick from work a few times because I couldn't handle getting out of bed. Nothing clinical. Just the regular depression of being 25 in broken America. But now, that was evidence against me. I've been fine, I lied. Chen pulled out another photo. Vanessa's face. Bruise on her cheek, split lip. She says you did this, and when you came to her home 3 weeks ago. I've never been to her home. I met her for the first time Saturday at my apartment. She came to me. Any witnesses to that? No. No witnesses, of course not. Her sons were there, Rick and Forrest. Her sons confirm her version of events. They say you've been harassing their mother, showing up at their house, following her, making wild accusations. Of course they did. They were in on it. But I couldn't prove that either. The storage unit, I said desperately. My dad left a key to a storage unit. He said there was evidence there, evidence about Vanessa. What storage unit? I don't know the number. They took the key when they drugged me, but it's in Henderson. The lawyer knows about it. Rodriguez and Chen exchanged glances. Mr. Patterson mentioned a storage unit key, said it was part of the estate, but he hasn't received it yet. He assumed you'd bring it to your next appointment. They'd stolen it. Of course they'd stolen it. That's what this whole thing was about. Look, Chen said, softer now. I think you've been through a trauma. Losing a father you didn't know you had. Sudden wealth. It's a lot for anyone to process. Maybe you need some time, some help. There are resources. I don't need a psychiatrist. I need you to investigate Vanessa Hayes. We are investigating. But right now, the evidence points to you being the aggressor. You understand that, right? Vanessa has documentation, medical records, witnesses. What do you have? A metal box in the desert, a map, letters from a dead man, an inheritance I couldn't claim, and a truth no one believed. Nothing, I said quietly. I have nothing. They let me go eventually, couldn't hold me without charging me, but they made it clear I was under investigation, made it clear I needed to stay away from Vanessa Hayes and her family, made it clear that if I violated the restraining order, I'd be arrested. I walked out of the police station into Vegas afternoon heat, checked my phone, which they'd returned, and found 37 missed calls. My mom, my friends, my boss, all of them asking if I was okay. All of them having seen the messages I had sent about being depressed and wanting to end things. Vanessa had texted them too, playing concerned stepmother, saying she was worried about me, asking if anyone had seen me, building her narrative. I had one voicemail from an unknown number. I played it. Jake, it's Clark Patterson, your dad's friend. The lawyer gave me your number. I need to talk to you. It's about Thomas. It's important. Call me back. Clark. Dad had mentioned him in one of his letters. An old Marine buddy, lived in Henderson. Said if I ever needed help, Clark would come through. I called back immediately. Clark answered on the first ring. Jesus, kid, you okay? I heard what happened. Vanessa's telling everyone you lost it and it tried to hurt her. I didn't. She tried to kill me, Clark. Left me in the desert to die. Long pause. Yeah, I believe you. Those 3 words almost broke me. Someone to believe me. Your dad was worried about her, Clark continued. Last few months before he died, he kept saying something was off. Said she was asking too many questions about his assets. Said her sons gave him bad vibes. He started hiding things, documentation, evidence. Where? Where did he hide it? That storage unit. The one he left you the key for. He told me it had everything, insurance policies, medical records, videos. Said if anything happened to him, you needed to see it all. They took the key. Vanessa and her sons. I don't know how to access it. Your dad was smart. He always had backup plans. The unit number is 28-14, combination lock. He told me the code once, your birthday, a month and day, 4 digits. My birthday. 7, August 17th. Hope sparked in my chest for the first time in days. I can get in there? Yeah, but Jake, be careful. If what Thomas suspected is true, if Vanessa really did what he thought she did, what did he think she did? Another pause, heavier this time. He thought she killed her first husband back in Colorado, made it look natural. He had information, files. He was building a case before he died. Said she'd done this before and she'd do it again. My blood turned to ice. You're saying she's done this before? Married someone, killed them, took their money. That's what Thomas believed. And Kid? He died of a sudden heart attack. No autopsy. Quick cremation. Vanessa handled everything before anyone could ask questions. She'd killed my father, and now she was trying to kill me. This wasn't just about stealing an inheritance. This was about eliminating witnesses, covering tracks, making me disappear. I need that evidence, I said. I need to get to that storage unit. I'll meet you there tomorrow, 8 a.m., but Jake, don't tell anyone where you're going. Don't trust anyone. If Vanessa thinks you're on to her, she'll make another move. He was right. I couldn't tell the police. They didn't believe me anyway. Couldn't tell my friends. They all thought I was unstable. Couldn't tell my mom because Vanessa had probably already gotten to her too. I was alone in this, except for Clark. Thank you, I said, for believing me. Your dad was my brother. Not by blood, but brothers all the same. If someone killed him, I want them to pay. See you tomorrow, kid. Stay alive until then. He hung up. I stood on the Vegas sidewalk, sun beating it down, people rushing past. Everything looked normal, tourists laughing, traffic moving, life continuing like the world hadn't just tried to murder me and frame me for my own death. My phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. Jake, I'm so worried about you. Please let me know you're safe. We're family. We can work through whatever you're dealing with. Call me. Vuozo. Family. She had the audacity to call us family after what she'd done. I blocked her number, blocked Rick's, blocked Forrest's. Then I checked my bank account. The inheritance funds hadn't transferred yet, still in probate. But my regular account showed $147.32, enough for a cheap motel room and maybe some food. I found a place off the strip. $30 a night, no questions asked, cash only. The room smelled like cigarettes and desperation, but it had a lock and a bed. That's all I needed. I lay on the scratchy comforter and stared at the ceiling, tried to process everything. My father had been alive. My father had been murdered. The woman who killed him was trying to kill me, and nobody believed any of it. Tomorrow I'd go to the storage unit. Tomorrow I'd find the evidence. Tomorrow I'd prove the truth, if I lived that long. Have you ever felt completely alone in knowing something terrible? Like you're screaming the truth and everyone thinks you're crazy? That's where I was. One person believed me. Clark. One person stood between me and being convicted for crimes I didn't commit. One person who could help me expose a murderer. Or one person who might be the next target if Vanessa figured out he was helping me. The Henderson storage facility looked like every other storage place. Rows of orange units, chain-link fence, security cameras that may or may not actually work. I sat in Clark's truck in the parking lot watching, waiting. It was 7:45 a.m. Early enough that not many people were around, just a few folks loading moving trucks, heading to their units. See that camera? Clark pointed to the one above the entrance. Been broken for 6 months, saw it on their website reviews, people complaining about security. So no video of us going in. No video of anyone going in, which means if Vanessa's people show up and we won't know until they're on top of us. Pleasant thought. We waited until 8 exactly. Then Clark and I walked to Unit 2814, back corner, away from the main office. My hands shook as I entered the combination. 008107. Click. The lock opened. I rolled up the door. Dad's entire life stared back at me. Boxes, filing cabinets, a desk, shelves packed with binders and folders, everything labeled, everything organized. This wasn't just storage. This was an archive. Jesus, Clark breathed. He really was building a case. We stepped inside. I closed the door behind us, turned on the overhead light. Started looking through the nearest box. Medical records. Death certificate for someone named David Connors. Age 43. Cause of death. Cardiac arrest. Date. September 2019. Place. Denver, Colorado. That's him, Clark said, reading over my shoulder. Vanessa's first husband. Thomas showed me a photo once. Good guy. Made decent money in real estate. I kept digging. Found an autopsy report, except there wasn't one. Just a notation that the family declined autopsy and requested immediate cremation. The family? Vanessa. Next folder, insurance documents. David Connors had a $3 million life insurance policy. Beneficiary, Vanessa Connors. Payout processed October 2019. She got $3 million when he died, I said. Same as what she's trying to get from my dad. Clark pulled out another box. Look at this. Bank statements, David Connors' accounts, regular deposits, normal spending, everything looking standard. Then in the weeks before his death, large withdrawals. $50K here, $30K there, $75K the week before he died. All cash withdrawals. He didn't make these, I said. He was dying. Who goes to the bank and withdraws $200,000 in cash when they're having heart attacks? Someone who wants it to look like he was hiding money, making bad decisions, maybe suicidal. Same playbook. She'd used the same playbook on David that she tried to use on me. I found Dad's journal next, leather-bound. Pages and pages of notes in his handwriting. Started reading. March 2023. Vanessa asked about my military benefits today. Specifically wanted to know about survivor benefits. Said she was just curious, but why now? We've been married 2 years. April 2023. Went through her phone while she was sleeping. Found messages to someone named Marcus, talking about the plan and being patient. Deleted before I could screenshot. Confronted her. She cried, said it was about a surprise party she's planning. My birthday isn't for 6 months. June 2023. Feeling sick a lot lately. Fatigue, nausea. Doctor can't find anything wrong. Vanessa makes me tea every night. Insists it helps. I feel worse after drinking it. August 2023. Found information about David Connors. Her first husband died of heart attack at 43. No autopsy, quick cremation, payout of $3 Same symptoms he had before he died. Same symptoms I'm having now. My throat closed up. Dad knew. He'd known she was poisoning him and he couldn't prove it. September 2023. Contacted Clark. Gave him info about the storage unit. Can't trust Vanessa with knowing about Jake. She keeps asking about my son. Where is he? What's his address? Does he know about the inheritance? I've lied. Told her Jake and I are estranged. That I don't know where he is. Need to protect him. October 2023. Found the poison, thallium, in her makeup bag, in an old Tylenol bottle. Looked it up. Causes heart failure. Untraceable in autopsy unless they're specifically looking for it. Called the police. They said without proof of intent they can't do anything. A bottle of pills isn't enough. November 2023. I'm dying. Doctor confirmed it today. Heart failure, progressive, irreversible. Vanessa played the concerned wife perfectly, but I saw her smile when the doctor left the room. She thinks she's won. December 2023. Change my will. Everything to Jake. Set up the storage unit with evidence. Set up the emergency supplies in the desert and coordinates in the letters I've been sending him. If she tries anything with my son, he'll survive. He has to survive. He's all I have left. January 2024. If you're reading this, Jake, I'm sorry. Sorry I left. Sorry I couldn't protect you. Sorry I brought this evil into my life and risked it spreading to yours. But I tried to give you the tools, the evidence, the truth. Stop her, please. She's done this before. She'll do it again. Stop her. The journal entry was dated January 10th. Dad died March 15th. 2 more months of being slowly poisoned while he documented everything. Clark, my voice cracked. He knew he was dying and he kept gathering evidence. That was Thomas. Marine to the end. Complete the mission. I found the videos next, thumb drives, dozens of them, all labeled with dates. I plugged one into the laptop Dad had left in the unit. The video showed Dad's house. Hidden camera angle, kitchen view, date stamp, October 2023. Vanessa entered the frame, alone, checked over her shoulder, then pulled a bottle from her purse, opened the Tylenol bottle Dad mentioned, used tweezers to drop a pill into a glass of iced tea sitting on the counter, stirred it, put the bottle back, left. 2 minutes later, Dad entered, picked up the tea, drank it. She was poisoning him, on camera. We had her. I watched 3 more videos, all the same. Vanessa adding pills to drinks, food, even his vitamins. Always careful, always checking first, always when she thought no one was watching. This is enough, Clark said. This proves murder. For Dad. What about David Connors? We kept searching, found another section of boxes, these labeled Colorado Investigation. Dad had hired a private investigator, full report inside, photos of Vanessa with David, timeline of their marriage, financial records, and interviews. One interview stood out, David's brother, Marcus Connors. The PI had tracked him down in 2024, just 2 months before Dad died. I read the transcript. PI. Tell me about the weeks before David died. Marcus. He called me, said he was sick, said Vanessa was being weird about it, insisting he drink this herbal tea she made. He thought she was overreacting, but I told him to be grateful he had someone who cared. PI. How did he die? Marcus. Heart attack at home. Vanessa called 911, but he was already gone. She was hysterical. Blamed herself for not noticing how serious his symptoms were. I comforted her, told her it wasn't her fault. P.I. And the cremation? Marcus. She said David wanted it, that they'd discussed it. No funeral, no fuss, just a small memorial. She was so broken up about it I didn't question anything. Looking back now, after you called, I should have questioned everything. P.I. Do you think she killed him? Marcus. I think my brother was healthy, 43, ran marathons, then suddenly he's sick and dead in 6 weeks, and his wife walks away with $3 million. Yeah, I think she killed him. But Marcus never went to police, never pushed for an autopsy. By the time he had suspicions, David's ashes were scattered. No body to test, no evidence to find. Until now. We take this to the FBI, I said. Not local police. FBI. This is interstate. Multiple murders, insurance fraud. They have to listen. Clark nodded slowly. FBI. Yeah, but Jake, we need to be smart about this. We copy everything first, multiple backups, because if Vanessa finds out we have this evidence... The door to the storage unit rolled up behind us. Rick and Forrest stood there, Rick holding a gun. Step away from the boxes, Rick said calmly. Both of you. My heart stopped. Clark's hand moved toward his hip. He was carrying, I realized. Had a gun of his own. Don't, Forrest said. He had a gun, too. We just want the evidence. Give us what Thomas collected, and you can walk away. How did you know we were here? I asked, buying time while my brain screamed for a plan. Tracked your phone, Rick said. Mom figured you'd come here eventually. She's very thorough. Like she was thorough killing my father. Your father was dying anyway. Mom just sped things up. Saved everyone the time and money on medical bills. He said it so casually, like murder was a practical decision. And David Connors? Clark spoke up. Was he dying too? Forrest shifted uncomfortably. Rick's expression stayed flat. David was weak, made bad investments. Mom saved him from bankruptcy and embarrassment. By poisoning him. By giving him peace. Rick took a step forward. Now give us the evidence or we'll take it. Your choice. Clark's hand twitched toward his gun. I grabbed his arm. Not worth it. Not here, not now. It's digital, I lied. Everything's been uploaded to cloud storage. You can take the physical stuff, but it doesn't matter. I've already sent copies to the police, FBI, news outlets. It's over. Rick smiled. Not a nice smile. Really? You sent evidence to the FBI in the last 30 minutes? While you were in here reading? He was right. I was bluffing badly and he knew it. Here's what's going to happen, Rick continued. You're going to load everything into our truck. Then you're going to get in your vehicle and drive away. And you're going to forget you ever found this place. Or what? Clark asked. Or we kill you both and burn down the storage facility. Accidental fire happens all the time. By the time the fire department arrives, all this evidence is ash. And you're 2 more bodies in the desert. They would do it. I could see it in Rick's eyes. Same cold calculation Vanessa had. This family killed people like normal folks ran errands. Necessary tasks to complete. Start loading, Forrest said. Now. We didn't have a choice. Clark and I started carrying boxes to their truck, one by one. Evidence of murder, fraud, conspiracy, everything Dad died documenting, all about to disappear. My phone was in my pocket. I could call 911, but Rick was watching me too closely. The second I reached for it, he'd shoot. We loaded the truck. It took 15 minutes. Neither Rick nor Forrest lowered their guns once. When the last box was in, Rick gestured toward Clark's truck. Get in, drive, don't come back. We got in. Clark started the engine, pulled out of the parking lot. We can't let them... I started. We're not. Clark hit a button on his dashboard. A recording light blinked off. Been recording since we got here. Everything they said. Confessions to both murders. And the evidence? Look in the back seat. I turned and saw a banker's box. That's everything important. I was military intelligence before I retired. I know how to copy files. Everything in those boxes they took, duplicates. The real evidence is right here. I wanted to cry, wanted to laugh, wanted to hug this man I'd only met today. We go straight to FBI, Clark said. Don't stop. Don't hesitate. They just confessed on tape and they don't even know it. We drove. Fast. Clark knew the way to the Las Vegas FBI field office, pulled up to the security gate, told them we had evidence of multiple murders. They took us seriously when we mentioned interstate crimes and insurance fraud. 2 hours later, we were sitting in an interview room. 2 agents across from us. Special Agent Morrison and Special Agent Reeves. We laid it out. All of it. Dad's journal, the videos, the PI report, Marcus Connor's interview, and the audio recording from 45 minutes ago of Rick and Forrest confessing. We'll need to verify all of this, Morrison said. But if what you're telling us is accurate, this is attempted capital murder, conspiracy, insurance fraud, possibly RICO charges. How long until you arrest them, I asked. We need warrants. Need to coordinate with local PD. Probably 24 hours. They're going to run, Clark said. The second they realize Jake didn't back down, they'll disappear. Reeves shook his head. We're putting surveillance on them now. If they try to leave the state, we'll know. We gave our statements, handed over everything. I felt lighter leaving that building than I had in days. We'd done it. We'd exposed her. Clark dropped me back at my motel. Stay here. Keep your head down. Let the FBI do their job. Thank you, I said. For everything. For believing me when no one else did. Your dad was my brother. You're family now, too. Family looks out for each other. He shook my hand. This'll be over soon, kid. Justice is coming. I went inside, collapsed on the bed, closed my eyes for what felt like the first time in days. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Hayes. Female voice, professional. This is Sarah Kim from the Las Vegas County Courthouse. We have a court date scheduled for you, day after tomorrow, regarding Mrs. Vanessa Hayes' petition. What petition? To have you declared mentally incompetent. She's requesting emergency guardianship based on psychiatric evaluation and recent behavior. The hearing is set for 9 a.m. You're required to appear. The phone slipped from my hand. She was making her move. While the FBI gathered evidence, she was going to have me declared insane. Get guardianship, control the inheritance, finish what she started. I called Clark, told him. They can't do that, he said. Can they? She has documentation, fake psychiatrist reports, witness statements from her sons, police reports about my threats. She's built the perfect case. But you're about to expose her for murder. In 24 hours, maybe. The hearing is in 48. If she gets that guardianship, I'm done. She'll have legal control over my assets, my decisions, everything. The FBI evidence won't matter if I'm legally declared incompetent. So what do we do? I don't know. My voice broke. I honestly don't know. Can someone who's smarter than me explain how I fight a court system that's already convinced I'm crazy? Because I'm about to lose everything my father died to protect, and I'm out of ideas. I spent that night in my motel room researching guardianship law. Did you know they can strip your rights in a single hearing? One judge, one petition, and suddenly you're no longer legally able to make your own decisions. They can control your money, your medical care, where you live, everything. Vanessa knew exactly what she was doing. My phone rang at midnight. Clark. Kid, we got a problem. My stomach dropped. What? Tony Garcia. You know that name? No. Should I? He was a PI here in Vegas, worked for Thomas, helped gather evidence on Vanessa's background. I called him tonight to see if he had any additional files that could help. And? His office burned down 2 hours ago. Gas leak, they're saying. He barely got out alive, all his files gone. This wasn't coincidence. Vanessa was cleaning up, eliminating anyone who knew the truth. Clark, you need to hide those files. Multiple locations. Don't keep them at your house. Already done. Gave copies to 3 different people. My lawyer, my ex-military buddy in Phoenix, and a friend at the newspaper. If something happens to me, they know what to do with them. Nothing's going to happen to you. That's what Tony probably thought. Look, I'm going to the FBI tomorrow. Push them to move faster. This woman is eliminating evidence and witnesses. We can't wait 24 hours. We hung up. I tried to sleep, couldn't. I kept thinking about that court hearing. 48 hours from now, I'd be standing in front of a judge while Vanessa played grieving widow, worried stepmother, responsible adult trying to help a troubled young man. And I'd be the guy who spent 3 days in the desert, who made wild accusations about attempted murder, who looked desperate and paranoid and exactly like someone who'd lost touch with reality. Morning came. I showered, put on the cleanest clothes I had, and headed to a McDonald's for coffee and Wi-Fi. Needed to prepare for that hearing. Needed a lawyer. Needed something. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Jake. It's Tony Garcia. Clark told me what's happening. I have information that might help. Can you meet? There's a diner off Charleston, Mario's. Noon. Come alone. I'm worried about surveillance. I stared at the message. Tony, the PI whose office burned down. He had information, but something felt off. Come alone. Worried about surveillance. Why not just tell me over the phone? I called Clark. No answer. Voicemail. Clark got a weird message from Tony Garcia. He wants to meet. Something feels wrong. Call me back. I debated. Probably a trap. Probably Rick or Forrest pretending to be Tony, luring me somewhere isolated. But what if it wasn't? What if Tony had evidence that could help? I couldn't risk ignoring it. I drove to Mario's diner, busy place, lots of people, safer than somewhere isolated. Arrived at noon exactly, scanned the booths. Saw a guy in his 50s, burned hands wrapped in bandages sitting in the back corner. Had to be Tony. I slid into the booth across from him. Tony Garcia? Jake Hayes. He shook my hand with his bandaged one, winced at the contact. Thanks for coming. What do you have? He pulled out his phone. I keep backups, cloud storage. The fire took my office, but not my files. I've got things on Vanessa that Thomas didn't know about, things I found after he died. Like what? David Connors wasn't the first. He scrolled through his phone, showed me a photo of a gravestone. Michael Raymond, beloved husband, 1975 to 2017. Who's Michael Raymond? Vanessa's husband before David died in Oregon, heart attack at 42. No autopsy, quick cremation, life insurance payout of $1.5 million. Jesus Christ, 3 husbands, 3 murders, 3 payouts. There's more. Tony scrolled. Another gravestone. James Hendricks, loving father. 1968-2014. 4? My voice barely worked. 4 that I found. Could be more. She moves states, changes her name slightly. Vanessa Martin, Vanessa Martinez, Vanessa Matthews. Always close enough to be believable, but different enough to avoid pattern recognition in insurance databases. How has no one caught her? Different states, different names, years between kills. Insurance companies don't talk to each other. Local police don't coordinate. And she's careful. Always makes it look natural. Always has a sad story. Always plays the grieving widow perfectly. He leaned forward. But here's the thing. She's getting sloppy. The time between kills is getting shorter. Thomas was only 2 years. David was 3. Before that, she waited 5-6 years. She's accelerating and getting greedy. Or desperate. Maybe. But, Jake, this information? This proves a pattern. This is multiple murders across multiple states. This is federal. This is death penalty territory. Did you give this to the FBI? I did. This morning. They're moving up their timeline. Arrest warrants are being prepared now. She'll be in custody by tonight. The relief almost made me cry. Tonight? Really? Really? But you need to be careful. That court hearing tomorrow? She might still try to push it through. Might try to get that guardianship order before she's arrested. If she does, fighting it from jail will be harder. So what do? Don't show up. I blinked. What? If you don't appear, she can't get the order. The hearing gets postponed. By the time it's rescheduled, she'll be in custody and her credibility will be destroyed. Her petition will be dismissed. But if I don't show, doesn't that make me look worse? Like I'm avoiding the system? You're avoiding a rigged system. She's stacked the deck. She has fake witnesses, fake documentation, and fake everything. You walk into that courtroom and you're walking into an ambush. Don't give her the satisfaction. He made sense, but something still felt wrong. Why are you telling me this in person? I asked. You could have sent me the files, could have told me over the phone. Tony's expression shifted. Because I wanted to look you in the eye. I worked for your father. He paid me to investigate Vanessa, and I did. But I was too slow. I found this evidence 3 weeks after he died. 3 weeks too late. I blame myself for that. It's not your fault. Yeah, it is. If I'd been faster, if I'd dug deeper sooner, Thomas might still be alive. So I'm telling you in person because I owe him that much. I owe him the truth delivered with certainty, not through a screen, face to face. I believed him. Maybe that made me naive, but I believed him. Thank you, I said, for not giving up, for finding this. Thank Clark. He's the one who pushed me to keep digging even after the fire. Your dad had good friends. Yeah, he did. We talked for another 20 minutes. He showed me more of his files, more evidence, more of Vanessa's history. It was damning, overwhelming, absolutely ironclad. When I left the diner, I felt something I hadn't felt in days. Hope. Real hope. I drove back to the motel. Called Clark again. Still no answer. Weird. He always answered. Tried texting. Clark. Met with Tony. He has everything. FBI moving tonight. Call me. No response. I tried not to worry. He was probably just busy. Probably with the FBI giving statements. Probably fine. My phone rang. FBI. Agent Morrison. Mr. Hayes, we need you to come in, now. What's wrong? Just come in, it's important. Is it about Clark? I can't reach him. Long pause. Mr. Hayes, just come in. That pause told me everything I needed to know. I drove to the FBI building, legs numb, hands shaking, got escorted to the same interview room as before. Morrison and Reeves sat across from me. Their faces were wrong, too serious. Where's Clark? I asked. Clark Patterson was found unconscious in his home 2 hours ago. He's at University Medical Center, critical condition. The room tilted. What happened? Carbon monoxide poisoning. Someone tampered with his furnace. If his neighbor hadn't checked on him, he'd be dead. Vanessa. She'd tried to kill Clark, too. Is he going to make it? Doctors are hopeful, but Mr. Hayes, there's something else. Morrison slid a photo across the table. Do you know this man? I looked. Middle-aged guy. Burned hands, salt and pepper hair. Tony Garcia. Yeah, I just met with him. 2 hours ago at Maria's diner. He gave me information about Vanessa's past. Evidence of multiple murders. Morrison and Reeves exchanged looks. Mr. Hayes, Tony Garcia's body was found in his apartment this morning. He died in the fire we told you about. He's been dead for 12 hours. I stopped breathing. That's not possible. I just met with him. I saw him, talked to him. You met with someone, not Tony Garcia. The diner, the booth, the burned hands. The information that was too perfect, too complete, too ready. It was a setup, I whispered. Whoever you met with wanted to know what you knew, wanted to know who you'd talk to. You led them right to Clark. Oh, God, no. They knew I'd tell Clark about the meeting. They knew I'd call him. They were listening. They followed me from the diner to verify I'd contacted him, and then they went to his house. Morrison finished. We believe Forrest Hayes was monitoring your phone. They'd been tracking you this entire time. I'd led them to Clark. I'd gotten him nearly killed. The files, I said desperately. Clark had copies of everything, multiple backups, his lawyer, his friend in Phoenix, someone at a newspaper. We're retrieving those now. But Mr. Hayes, I need you to understand something. You cannot meet with anyone else. You cannot trust anyone else. The Hayes family is eliminating witnesses and evidence as fast as they can. They know we're closing in. They're making their final moves. Are you arresting them? Warrants are signed. We're executing them within the hour, but you need to stay here, in protective custody, until they're in custody. What about the court hearing tomorrow? We'll have Vanessa arrested before then. The hearing will be canceled. And if something goes wrong, if she's not arrested by then? Morrison hesitated. Then you don't show up. Like Tony, like whoever you met with said. Don't give her the opportunity to get that guardianship order. Except the fake Tony had wanted me to not show up, had encouraged it, which meant not showing up was probably exactly what Vanessa wanted. Another way to make me look unstable. Another piece of evidence that I was incompetent. I was trapped. Show up to the hearing and walk into her ambush. Don't show up and confirm every negative thing she'd said about me. Mr. Hayes, we need you to stay here. Agent Reeves will take you to a secure room. You'll be safe there. We'll update you as soon as the arrests are made. I followed Reeves down a hallway. Into a small room with a couch, table, TV. No windows. One door. Safe. Secure. And completely cut off from everything happening outside. I sat on the couch, checked my phone. No messages, no calls. Just silence. Clark was in the hospital because I trusted someone I shouldn't have. How many more people would get hurt before this ended? The TV was on, muted. Local news. I turned up the volume. Breaking news in Henderson, where police have surrounded a residence belonging to Vanessa Hayes, widow of local businessman Thomas Hayes. Reports indicate this is connected to an ongoing federal investigation. We'll bring you updates as they develop. The screen showed Vanessa's house. FBI vehicles, SWAT team, agents moving into position. This was it. They were arresting her now. I watched, waited, saw agents enter the house, come back out, conferring with each other, looking confused. The news anchor spoke again. We're hearing reports that Vanessa Hayes is not at the residence. Police are attempting to locate her now. Again, this is breaking news. She'd run. Somehow she'd known the FBI was coming and she'd run. The door opened. Morrison entered. She's gone. House is empty. Neighbor says she saw Vanessa leave with her sons around noon. Packed SUV. Told the neighbor she was going on a quick trip to visit family in California. She knew. My voice was hollow. She knew you were coming. We have alerts out. Border Patrol, airport security. She won't get far. But I knew better. Vanessa had been doing this for 20 years. She'd killed at least 4 people, maybe more. She knew how to disappear. She had money, resources, probably fake IDs already prepared, and she was still out there. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Jake, since you're so determined to ruin everything, let me make this simple. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. courthouse. You sign over the inheritance and drop all accusations, or Clark doesn't wake up from his coma. Yes, I have people at the hospital. Yes, they can access his room. Your choice. Save one life, or you lose everything fighting for justice you'll never get. V. She'd tried to kill Clark. Now she was using him as leverage. I showed Morrison the text. He immediately got on his radio. Get units to UMC. Patient Clark Patterson. Protection detail. Now. But I knew it didn't matter. Vanessa was always 3 steps ahead. If she wanted to hurt Clark, she'd find a way. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. I had a choice. Give her everything and maybe Clark lives. Or fight her and watch another person die because of me. What would you do? Because I honestly don't know anymore. They kept me at the FBI building overnight. Protective custody. Agent Reeves brought me a sandwich around 8 p.m., told me Clark was stable, that they had guards on his hospital room, that he'd be safe. I didn't believe him. Vanessa always found a way. I couldn't sleep, kept replaying everything, Dad's letters, the desert, the storage unit, Clark's truck, the fake Tony. Every moment led to this. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., walking into that courthouse. Morrison came in around 7 a.m., brought coffee, sat across from me. Mr. Hayes, you don't have to attend this hearing. You know that, right? If I don't show, she gets what she wants. Guardianship by default. The judge won't grant guardianship to a fugitive. Vanessa's a wanted woman, multiple murder charges, insurance fraud, attempted murder. Even if you don't appear, no judge will give her legal control over anything. You're sure about that? His pause told me he wasn't. These things take time, legal process, due process, but eventually doesn't help Clark. Eventually doesn't stop her from disappearing permanently with my father's money and my inheritance. I stood up. I'm going to that hearing. Jake? She wants to meet me in court. Fine. Let's meet in court. But I'm not giving her anything. I'm not signing anything. I'm going to look that judge in the eye and tell the truth, all of it. Morrison sighed. If you're determined to do this, we're going with you. Full security detail. She won't get near you. She doesn't need to get near me. She just needs to convince the judge I'm unstable. And she's very good at that. We arrived at the courthouse at 8:45. FBI agents everywhere, metal detectors, security checkpoints. Morrison wasn't taking chances. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, Nevada state seal. Judge's bench empty. A few rows of seats. Vanessa's lawyer was already there. Expensive suit, expensive briefcase, expensive haircut. He smiled when he saw me. Not a friendly smile. Mr. Hayes, glad you could make it. My client sends her regards. Your client is a murderer. Alleged murderer. Innocent until proven guilty. But we're not here about that today, are we? We're here because you've been making threats, harassing a grieving widow, showing signs of mental instability. Where is she? I looked around. If she filed this petition, she has to appear, right? The lawyer shrugged. She'll be here. 9 a.m. came. Judge entered. Older woman, gray hair, reading glasses, Judge Patricia Martinez. She looked at me, then at the lawyer, then at the empty chair where Vanessa should be sitting. Counselor, where's your client? Your Honor, Mrs. Hayes was feeling unsafe coming to the courthouse. Given Mr. Hayes's threats and recent behavior, she feared for her safety. She's attending remotely via video conference. Of course she was. Safe somewhere. Untouchable. A screen on the wall flickered on. Vanessa appeared. She was in what looked like a hotel room, dressed in black, hair perfect, makeup perfect, playing the scared widow flawlessly. "Your Honor," she said, voice trembling. "Thank you for allowing me to appear remotely. I'm just so frightened. Jake has been unstable since his father's death. I've tried to help him, but he's made terrible accusations. Threatened me. Threatened my sons. I don't know what else to do." Judge Martinez looked at me. "Mr. Hayes, do you have representation?" "No, Your Honor, I can't afford a lawyer. The court can appoint. I don't need one. I need 5 minutes to tell the truth." The judge considered. "This is a guardianship petition, very serious. Mrs. Hayes is seeking emergency guardianship based on psychiatric evaluation showing you're a danger to yourself and others. Do you understand the implications?" "I understand she's trying to steal my inheritance by having me declared insane." Vanessa's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, you can see the hostility, the paranoia. This is exactly what the psychiatric report detailed." "What psychiatric report? I've never been evaluated. That report is fake." The lawyer handed a document to the judge. "Dr. Richard Chen evaluated Mr. Hayes 3 weeks ago, diagnosed him with delusional disorder, paranoid type, recommended immediate intervention." "I've never met Dr. Chen. That's a lie." Judge Martinez read the report. Her expression didn't change. "Mr. Hayes, it says here you called Dr. Chen's office 15 times in one day making accusations about your family, that you showed up at his office demanding he confirm your father was murdered. That never happened." But even as I said it, I knew how it sounded. Desperate, paranoid, exactly like someone who is delusional. Vanessa spoke from the screen. "Your Honor, I love Jake. He's my stepson. But he needs help. Professional help. I'm just trying to make sure he gets the treatment he needs before he hurts himself or someone else." The judge looked at me. "Mr. Hayes, I'm going to ask you directly. Have you made threats against Mrs. Hayes or her family?" "No, she tried to kill me. She drugged me and left me in the desert to die. She murdered my father. She's murdered at least 3 other men. The FBI is investigating her right now." "So you do believe your father was murdered?" "I don't believe it. I know it. I have evidence, videos, journals, testimony." "From whom?" "From my father. From a private investigator. From—" I stopped. "Clark was in the hospital. Tony was dead. Everyone who could back me up was either gone or incapacitated." The judge wrote something down. "Mrs. Hayes, you've submitted evidence that Mr. Hayes has been experiencing financial stress, that he was unemployed, that he stands to inherit substantial assets from your late husband." "Yes, Your Honor. I think the sudden wealth has overwhelmed him. He wasn't prepared for it, and now he's creating elaborate conspiracy theories rather than accepting that Thomas died of natural causes." "Natural causes?" I laughed. It came out wrong. Too loud. Too bitter. "She poisoned him, thallium. Same thing she used on her first husband, and her second husband, and her third—" "Mr. Hayes." The judge's voice cut through. "You're claiming Mrs. Hayes is a serial killer?" "Yes. That's exactly what I'm claiming. Ask the FBI. Agent Morrison is outside. He can confirm—" "The FBI's investigation is separate from these proceedings. This hearing is about your mental competency, not criminal allegations." "They're the same thing. She's trying to have me declared insane so she can steal my inheritance before she's arrested." The lawyer stood again. "Your Honor, again this hostility, this paranoia. Mr. Hayes needs intervention." Judge Martinez removed her reading glasses. "Mr. Hayes, I'm going to be direct with you. I've reviewed the evidence. Police reports show you violated a restraining order, made threats, engaged in erratic behavior. The psychiatric evaluation indicates serious mental health concerns, and now you're making wild accusations about multiple murders with no substantive proof." "The proof is in the storage unit. The FBI has it. Then the FBI can pursue their investigation, but this court's concern is your immediate welfare. I'm inclined to grant temporary guardianship pending further evaluation." My stomach dropped. "You can't. She'll kill me. The second she has control, she'll kill me." Vanessa dabbed at her eyes on the screen. "Your Honor, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He genuinely believes I want to hurt him. It's heartbreaking. Mrs. Hayes, if I grant this petition, you'll have legal authority over Mr. Hayes' medical decisions, financial affairs, and living arrangements." Are you prepared for that responsibility?" I am, Your Honor. I just want him to get help. The judge started writing the order, writing away my rights. Your Honor, wait. Morrison's voice. He'd entered the courtroom. I need to speak. Judge Martinez looked up. And you are? Special Agent Paula Morrison, FBI. I'm investigating Mrs. Hayes for multiple counts of murder, insurance fraud, and conspiracy. I strongly advise against granting her any legal authority over Mr. Hayes. The lawyer objected. Your Honor, the FBI's investigation is speculative. No charges have been filed. No arrests made. This is harassment. No arrests have been made because Mrs. Hayes is currently a fugitive. She's evading federal warrants as we speak. The judge looked at the screen. Vanessa's face had gone pale. Mrs. Hayes, is this true? I'm not evading anything. I'm in California visiting my sister. I'm happy to cooperate with any investigation. Morrison held up his phone. Your Honor, we have evidence that Mrs. Hayes murdered at least 4 men over the past 15 years using the same method. We have video evidence of her poisoning Thomas Hayes. We have testimony from a private investigator. We have financial records showing a clear pattern of fraud, and we have probable cause to believe she attempted to murder Jake Hayes by abandoning him in the desert. All lies, Vanessa said. Fabrications created by a disturbed young man who can't accept his father's death. Then explain the thallium found in your home. Explain the life insurance policies. Explain why you fled the state hours before federal agents attempted to arrest you. The courtroom went silent. Judge Martinez set down her pen. Counselor, I'm denying the guardianship petition pending resolution of the FBI's investigation. This hearing is adjourned. Vanessa's face twisted on the screen. The mask cracked. Just for a second I saw the real her. The cold, calculating killer who'd murdered my father. This isn't over, she said. You can't prove anything. I've been too careful. Mrs. Hayes, I'd advise you to stop talking, her lawyer said frantically. But she couldn't stop. 20 years of getting away with murder, and she couldn't stop. David was weak. Michael was boring. James was broke. Thomas was stubborn. They all thought they were so smart. But I'm smarter. I'm always smarter. That money is mine. I earned it. And Jake? She looked right at the camera, right at me. You should have died in that desert. That was your one chance to walk away from this gracefully. The courtroom erupted. Morrison was already on his radio. Trace that video connection. Find her location. Now. The screen went black. Vanessa was gone again. But it didn't matter. She'd confessed. On record. In front of a judge. With FBI agents as witnesses. Judge Martinez looked shaken. Agent Morrison, I'm issuing an order to freeze all of Mrs. Hayes' assets. And Mr. Hayes. She looked at me. I apologize for doubting you, for almost making a terrible mistake. Just find her, I said, before she disappears forever. Morrison nodded. She just made a fatal error. We'll find her. They did find her. 2 days later. Trying to cross into Mexico with fake passport and $200,000 cash. Rick and Forrest were with her, all 3 arrested at the border. The trial took 6 months. Federal prosecutors threw everything at her. 4 counts of first-degree murder, insurance fraud, conspiracy, attempted murder. The evidence was overwhelming. Dad's videos, the PI's files, financial records. Marcus Connors testified about his brother David. Michael Raymond's daughter testified about her father. Vanessa's sister testified that Vanessa had bragged about handling problem husbands. The defense tried to claim I'd fabricated everything, that I drugged myself in the desert for sympathy, that the videos were deepfakes, that my father was paranoid and delusional, but they couldn't explain the poison in Vanessa's house. Couldn't explain the GPS data showing Rick and Forrest's phones in the exact location where I was abandoned. Couldn't explain the pattern of dead husbands and insurance payouts. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty. On everything. Vanessa showed no emotion when the verdict was read. Just that same cold stare, like she couldn't believe she'd finally been caught. Sentencing came a month later. Judge Martinez presiding again. She looked at Vanessa with something like disgust. Mrs. Hayes, you're one of the most calculating and remorseless criminals I have encountered in 20 years on the bench. You systematically murdered 4 men who trusted you. You manipulated legal systems, insurance companies, and law enforcement. You attempted to murder a 5th victim, your stepson, and nearly succeeded. You've shown no remorse, no acknowledgement of your crimes, and based on the evidence, I believe you would kill again if given the opportunity. She sentenced Vanessa to life without parole. 4 consecutive life sentences to be exact. Rick got 25 years. Forrest got 20. All 3 were led away in chains. I watched them go. Felt nothing, no satisfaction, no relief, just exhaustion. Clark recovered. Took him 3 months, but he made it. We've stayed in touch. He's like the uncle I never had. The family Dad chose for me when he couldn't be there himself. The inheritance finally cleared. $11 million. More money than I could have imagined a year ago. I put most of it in trust. Used some to start a foundation. The Thomas Hayes Foundation is for elder abuse prevention. Helps people recognize financial abuse patterns. Provides resources for families dealing with suspected fraud. Teaches survival skills to young people who might need them someday. I kept Dad's letters. All of them. Framed one in my office. The last one he sent, dated 2 weeks before he died. Jake, if you're reading this, I'm sorry I wasn't the father you deserved, but I tried to give you something better than memories. I tried to give you tools, skills, strength, the ability to survive when everything goes wrong. I hope you never need them. But if you do, know that I loved you. Know that I thought about you every day. Know that I tried to protect you even when I couldn't be there. Be strong. Be smart. Be better than me. Dad, I teach wilderness survival now. Run programs through the foundation. Teach kids how to read compasses, find water, build shelters. Stay alive when the world tries to kill them. Teach them that sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones we trust most. Teach them to see the signs. Someone asked me once if I hated Vanessa, if I wished she'd died in the desert instead of almost killing me there. I don't. I pity her. She spent 20 years killing people for money, 20 years playing roles, 20 years being someone she wasn't, and in the end, she's in a cell. Alone. With nothing but her own company for the rest of her life. Me? I'm free. I survived. I won. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't destroy you unless you let it. Vanessa tried to bury me in the Nevada desert. Instead, my father's love dug me out. Clark's loyalty saved me. The truth set me free. I think about Dad sometimes. About what he must have felt, knowing he was dying. Knowing Vanessa killed him, knowing he couldn't stop her. But he could warn me. He could prepare me. He could leave me tools to fight back. He saved my life from the grave. That's love, real love. Not the fake kind Vanessa sold to her victims, but the kind that sacrifices everything to protect what matters. The foundation just funded its 50th case last month. 50 families who might have fallen victim to someone like Vanessa. 50 people who saw the signs, got help, escaped. I carry Dad's Purple Heart with me everywhere now. Wear it on a chain around my neck. Some people ask what it's for. I tell them it's a reminder. That sometimes the battles we fight aren't on battlefields. Sometimes they're in courtrooms and deserts and against people who smile while they kill you. And sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're strong, if you're prepared, you win. So here's my question for you. Not because I need the answer, but because maybe you do. What would you do if the person you trusted most was slowly destroying you? Would you see the signs? Would you fight back? Would you survive? Because the scary truth is, people like Vanessa are everywhere, wearing different faces, telling different lies, waiting for the next vulnerable person to trust them. Don't be that person. See the signs. Trust your gut. Fight back. Survive. That's what Dad taught me. And maybe, if this story teaches you the same thing, then something good came from all this pain. Stay safe out there. Trust carefully. And remember, family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the Marine buddy who believes you and no one else will. Sometimes it's the letters from a father you thought was dead. Sometimes it's the strength you find when the desert tries to kill you. Whatever secrets are hidden in your past, whatever dangers are waiting in your future, I hope you're ready. I hope someone prepared you the way Dad prepared me. And if they didn't, well, learn to prepare yourself. Because you never know when you'll wake up in the desert, and you'll need every tool you got to make it home alive.